and welcome to Tech 24. I'm Julia Seeger, and here are your headlines. In this edition, we'll look up at the stars as NASA's Kepler mission has just discovered a stunning 1,284 new planets, marking the single largest finding of planets to date. What's more, 9 of them are potentially habitable. And we'll learn the basics of coding with Cubetto. The low-tech wooden board teaches programming to kids from all social backgrounds and from all over the world without being glued to a computer screen. But first, let's take a peek into the future of transportation with Hyperloop. The LA-based company has carried out its very first public test of a prototype propulsion system that might one day rocket commuters between San Francisco and Los Angeles in a supersonic pod. The test comes as the company just closed another funding round, which includes investment from the French national railway company SNCF. Laurent Bersteker has the story.
3, 2, 1, start.
A small block of aluminum gliding along miniature railroad tracks in the Nevada desert. This tiny train isn't a toy, but the prototype for Hyperloop, a high-speed transportation system that is closer than ever to becoming a reality.
So today we demonstrated the full-scale propulsion system, which is actually a component that will go into the full-scale system we built here in North Las Vegas at the end of this year. This was actually a very major technical achievement. This was a custom-designed linear electric motor in which our engineers did a lot of work.
So how does it work? Pods containing cargo or passengers will be shot through depressurized tubes at almost supersonic speed. The Hyperloop can reach 160 kilometers an hour in 1 second and could go as fast as 1,200 kilometers per hour, enough to travel from San Francisco to LA in just 30 minutes. Hyperloop One hopes to be operational for cargo by 2019 and to start transporting passengers by 2021, an ambitious deadline for such a futuristic vision.
It's not about getting somewhere, it's about being somewhere. We're not trying to optimize the transportation experience, we're trying to eliminate it.
Born in the mind of Tesla CEO Elon Musk in 2013, the Hyperloop project has been making huge strides. The company, which just secured $80 million in additional funding, says it plans to start full-scale testing by the end of the year.
Well, let's now welcome Dan and Jay Kadokar. Hello and welcome, Dan.
Thank you, Julia.
We just saw the future of transportation there. You're going to tell us more today about the future of delivery systems. It seems like drones might be soon replacing the mailman.
That's right. The Japanese e-commerce giant Rakuten has pioneered the use of drone delivery services. In fact, it recently launched its own drone delivery service in Chiba, in Japan, in which it's able to deliver food and drinks on a golf course. So a user basically uses a special app using which he can order these stuff, and he can also enter the coordinates so the drone knows where the person is located on the golf course. Now, the ultimate aim of Rakuten is to use the drone delivery services in the delivery of its online goods to underpopulated areas.
And there's another project that wants to use these drones to send, this time, blood and medicine to remote areas.
That's right. Zipline is an American company which has developed a small robot airplane which intends to deliver blood, vaccine, and medicines to remote regions. Now, the idea is that Zip is a robot airplane which travels at 100 kilometers an hour. So when a health worker orders, say, blood packets, the plane, it carries those blood packets, reaches the designated area, and drops it using a little parachute so that it lands softly without any damage. Now, this company has now tied up with the Rwandan government to deliver blood packets of nearly 20 hospitals and medical centers to different regions in the country.
And now, what's new when it comes to earthbound systems?
Well, there's a new company called Starship Technologies, which was launched at the end of last year. They also intend to deliver products, normally normal grocery products at your doorstep, but not using drones or aerial drones, but using earthbound moving vehicles. Now, these particular vehicles, they are carbon dioxide emission free. They can carry up to 2 bags full of grocery products. They can also be tracked using a special app. At the same time, only the app holder will be able to unlock those grocery bags. The company intends to launch this product sometime during this year.
Right. It's pretty incredible how these drones and these robots are going to be running our errands for us very soon. Dan, you're going to stay with us as we're going to talk about another incredible discovery. NASA's Kepler mission has verified the existence of over 1,000 new planets, 9 of which are considered Earth-like worlds that could potentially harbor life. Dan, when scientists say they are verifying planets, what does it mean? I mean, is it that complicated to distinguish a planet?
Well, let's first understand how these planets are detected by the Kepler mission. Essentially, Kepler detects any change in the fluctuation of light. So if there's a dip in light being emitted from a star, then Kepler detects that there's a body which is in transit or which is moving between the star and the telescope lanes. Now, how to determine whether that body is a planet or it's some smaller, dimmer star, which can be a part of a star system, because there are a number of binary star systems in our galaxy and elsewhere. So in order to determine that, earlier scientists had to verify individually each case. They had to go through it, and it was a time-consuming process. But for this particular verification, a team of researchers from Princeton University, they came up with a new technique. It's called statistical. It's a statistical method. So what they did was they ran computer simulations of the real exoplanetary transits. They also ran computer simulations of those bodies which mimic these exoplanetary transits, and then they compared it from the catalog of planets that Kepler had already found, planets as in the bodies. It ran over, I think, over 4,000 bodies. And by comparing these simulations, they were able to find out that, yes, there's a chance, or there's 99% chance that the 1,284 bodies are exoplanets.
And what about these 9 planets that are Earth-like? I mean, how close am I to moving to another planet?
Well, I don't think that's quite possible, because even now we are struggling to reach Mars, and the distances are enormous. But that's true. It's an interesting, I mean, just imagine if we are able to somehow know that life also exists on some other planet. Now, for life to exist, there have certain conditions, which are, I mean, there are many conditions they have to be met. And one of those conditions is, of course, the presence of water. That water should be, there should be retention of water on the planet. Right. Now, that's what's called the habitable zone, which is neither too close to the star, which will make it very hot, or neither too far from the star, which will make it very cold. So this is the habitable zone in which the 9 planets are supposed to exist.
Very well. Thank you, Dan. It's time for Test 24. Today, we're going to learn the basic building blocks of coding without being glued to a computer screen with Cubetto. What is it all about, Cubetto?
Well, Cubetto is a wooden robot which moves as per the commands fed into the console. Now, the idea behind this toy is to introduce kids between 3 to 7 years to programming or coding. Not essentially in the way we know coding, looking at computer screens or making apps for phones, or
more about the logic.
More about the logic, exactly. Right. For 3 to 7 years, I mean, it will be too heavy for them to introduce directly to the fundamentals of coding for mobile apps. So this is a great way, because it teaches these kids, or it introduces them to the idea of how a program can be executed by feeding commands. So here there's a board. Right. Inside which is an Arduino circuit. Now, these are blocks, colorful blocks, which indicate direction. Each block has a unique direction.
So green, for instance.
Green, for instance, is straight. So I put green here. I put yellow, which is left here. And I start the app. Now, as you can see, the robot is moving as per the directions I have fed on this board. You can do it individually. You can put one block and make it move, or you can put a series of blocks and you'll have an entire route. For example, here we are, this robot is riding on the waves, and it's moving from a castle, it's moving towards...
So the teacher can tell the student, find the path towards the castle.
Exactly.
But you have to go through the mountains before getting to the castle. And
right, so you can start the robot from this starting block, which has all directions. The teacher can tell the kid, okay, now bring this robot to the mountain, which is located in the center. So the kid has to figure it out, which directions to give, and accordingly place it in the block. So that's the whole idea, to make them understand the logic behind commands and executing a program.
Right.
So I think it's not only a great way of introducing programming, but it's also a fun toy to play with.
I think it'd be great also for adults
Absolutely.
right? To start understanding how coding works.
It's quite fun. I mean, just imagine you put one block and you make the robot move, and yeah, it's quite
And
amusing.
what about the company? They've already sent these kits all over the world in several countries, I think, right?
Right. Many schools are using it. And as you know, these days, you cannot keep yourself away from computer languages or coding or programming, because that's the essence of whatever we do, whether
Right.
it's ordering taxis.
And what about the price? I think it comes at a hefty price.
Well, it's around 200 euros. You could call it expensive, but it has so many benefits. You can introduce programming to kids without having the need to make them stare at a computer screen. And it's a fun toy as well.
Thank you, Dan. Well, that's all for this week's edition, but you can capture it again and all our previous editions on our website, france24.com. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned to France 24.